Hey, Packer fans, Coach Hawn here with you on behalf of Packernet.com and the Packernet podcast. Happy Super Sunday. I know it's a disappointing time for some of you. You were thinking you'd really be a part of it. But, you got a new defensive coordinator, guy by the name of Joe Barry, has been a coordinator and a linebackers coach in the past. You know all that. I've been fielding a ton of questions, actually, kind of asking, what his scheme is, kind of what's the foundation, what are some things you can expect. So I thought I'd show you just a couple of the different thought processes that he builds from. And then from there, show you just a few of the tweaks he has before we roll into stuff that gets really, really in depth. So think of this as like a Joe Barry introduction. In order to do that first, though, I'm going to explain what he loves, which is Tampa Two or Cover Two Tampa. But before that, we have to actually really explain Cover Two and its base principles for you. So here we have 10 personnel from the offensive set, and then we have just a base formation out of 3-4, which Barry likes, which is Cover Two. Okay, so I'll show you how this works here, position by position. This one, let's just say, is a 3-man rush, just thinking that you can always send a linebacker or whatever, but we're just going to go super base here, okay? Corners here have both of the flats. They have those accounted for in Cover Two. Both of the deep safeties, too high look, a free and a strong safety. Both of those safeties have the deep half, so anything going this way, they got to bail out and take that deep half and that deep half, okay? And then this 4 shell of linebackers underneath have hook curl and low hole and all that. And then obviously if you wanted to blitz a linebacker here, you bring this linebacker all the way in and get a blitz out of him, then some of those holes can manipulate like that, right? So that's how Cover Two works. The problem with Cover Two is it's relatively easy for an offense to beat if they can diagnose it and make some adjustments on it pretty quickly. And I'll show you why here. Now remember, these safeties back here, these 2 top safeties, they got to run with any vertical threat, right? So we get a vertical threat here, let's say, and let's say we get a vertical threat here. Okay, a little smash concept coming to this side where the corner has the hitch. The safety's got to roll over the top. First and foremost, smash will usually beat Cover Two because the quarterback can just throw that to the sideline, and then that guy's beat by alignment, right? Okay, so that's one of the ways you can beat Cover Two. The other way is the more typical way for offenses to do this, knowing that that safety's got to take that deepest threat and knowing that the corner is going to stay in the flats. What they like to do a lot of times, because that safety is now out of here, what offenses like to do, knowing that that safety's got to run over the top of that, is throw a dig underneath him right here. See that? It's over the linebackers, under the safeties, right into what we call the high hole here. So they'll run them off with a vertical route, and they'll go ahead and throw a dig underneath, and you can make a living on that because this safety is over the top playing the smash, right? So we can see how all that could happen and why Cover Two is strong underneath, a lot of coverage underneath, but a little bit weak up top, okay? So instead, what Joe Barry likes to run is a theory called Tampa Two. So we're going to go ahead and reset all these guys back up in their standard Cover Two look pre-snap, and then knowing that this kind of combination is going to come when you see something that kind of looks like Cover Two pre-snap, knowing that you might get something like this, let's say a double dig or a drive under or whatever you want to call it, okay? Instead, you're going to still bail these safeties out, okay? They're still going to go to the top here. This is still Cover Two for them. So they still have to respect those deep threats. However, what Tampa does is take one of these linebackers and pulls him into the high hole like this, okay? You get one of these 2 linebackers dropping deep to cover that dig. Now all of a sudden you find yourself in a good spot because this linebacker will take that drive. This linebacker is working to reroute on his way up to 2. The corners are in the flats. You could even send this guy if you wanted to, whatever, okay? So this is how Tampa works. It fires a linebacker into that hole, which is really, really nice for teams that are making a living on beating you in Cover Two. Okay, so another one of his strongholds, Barry's strongholds, is a play called Cover Three. Okay, just a base coverage play, but this is actually a spinner. So you'll see pre-snap, dude starts out with the same exact alignment to where it looks like Cover Two. And the cool thing about Cover Two is you can bait teams into hitting this middle of the field, thinking they're going to split the safeties on a post or maybe that dig pattern or whatever that is. So Tampa is one way you can take that away. Another way you can take that away is by running Cover Three spinner. And what spinner means, and I know you guys have heard a lot about this because we've seen the Rams run it a lot in that in that playoff game, the divisional round. What spinner does is it identifies the strong safety or the safety away from the nickel, whichever one that is, and that'll spin him down into the flat. So now this safety covers this area. Now these corners bail deep here. This corner bails deep here. This safety takes middle third, and now you got cover 3, which means the deep thirds are taken care of. The flats are taken care of by the nickel and by the strong safety who has to spin down into the flat, and you still have 2 linebackers right here for some low hole coverage. The nice thing about this is you can run it out of a 4-2-5, get a 4-man pass rush, or if you're really aggressive, shoot, you can bring 5. You can bring this linebacker on a blitz, and you're still relatively covered. You have 3 underneath for zone coverage, and you have 3 over the top for zone coverage. So by giving it a pre-snap look of cover 2, spinning into cover 3, you can get into a pretty safe spot where you can still bring 5. And yeah, it's not ideal. Or you can bring 4, still get hopefully a good pass rush, and have 4 under and 3 over the top. So these are some of the things that I've seen Barry do. Just an explanation on what cover 2 is, what Tampa 2 is, and what cover 3 spinner is. These are kind of the base things that he does. And in my next video, I'll show you about some of the linebacker responsibilities and how he likes to generate pressure. So again, my name is Coach Hahn on behalf of Packernet.com and the Packernet podcast. Thanks for hanging out.